Hello friends, do you want to create something really beautiful? So I don't know if you know this, or maybe if you have read the tagline of this video, then you must be knowing this, but today I'm going to create something really beautiful, interesting with you all, and what I have made. So let me show you. Now these are the brown paper packaging which I use for my regular shipping or the couriers or my local use. I try to avoid as much plastic as I can. Now I just thought, why not to do my decoupage and mixed media technique on these ones. So these are the same pouches which I have altered, and I have created this beautiful gift packet. And yes, it has some really interesting tips, tricks and techniques, and of course I'm going to tell you the use of varnish while doing your decoupage work. So please do watch this video till the end, and let's get started. Welcome back to my channel friends, this is Sonia here, and today I'm going to do a decoupage work on a very interesting stuff which I use regularly. I'm sure that you must be also using that regularly, but first I need to decide my napkin. So this is the box in which I have my napkins, and I am looking for something really interesting and colorful because my stuff on which I'm going to do the decoupage is really interesting. I absolutely love it. So I don't know, these are nice, cute, but I'm looking for something interesting. One thing that I have a Facebook page in the name of Growing Craft, where I'm selling all these napkins. This is just to help you out guys. I'm not earning anything extra from that. It's just that I'm going to give all those napkins on the bought prices. So if you want it, you can check my Facebook page in the name of Growing Craft and place order. Now let me see which one to use. I'm really confused. Which one should I use? Or shall I use these scrap pieces? I think this is going to be really interesting. Now let me just see if I can get more scrap pieces from my napkin. Let me see. Now this is a piece which has some leftover pieces. Maybe I can have I can use these. Okay, let me cut this one also. This is so interesting now that we can use these pieces and create something really good. I don't know. Yeah, I have done a couple of projects with Dan, but I think that this is going to be a little more interesting to see that how I can use the scrap pieces. So yeah, maybe I can use these ones also. Let me see. Like on many of the pages I have too many big and smaller pieces, but I want to use the cutout pieces which is already there, or which are like too small to be used on any other surface. Let me cut out this one also. This is going to be a really interesting video. Oh, I have the same napkin piece which I did for this box, so I'll use this piece also. I think this is more than enough, but let's see. I'll just keep this. If I need, then maybe I can use this white floral pieces. So yeah, I could find some more pieces. This heart shape, I think this is more than enough. Now let me just arrange this everything back, and us start with new pieces. Yeah. Sorry. Okay, so these are the leftover pieces of my previous decoupage work. I have always mentioned in my videos that I'm going to save all these pieces with me. Now the base on which I really want to work for this tutorial is this. So these are the paper pouches which I get in bulk. I usually buy these in bulk so that I do not use plastics, and I use my cloth bags, but these are something which I need for my couriers and my shipping and my local deliveries, and these are really handy and these are much reasonable. So I just thought, why not to give a makeover to this one. Now to start with this, I need to prep up my base, and I need to have a really nice good white base so that I can just play around. So I don't want to cover it up completely. So what I have decided is that I'm going to use my brush up work randomly. Okay, now this is the back side of my pouch. So I'm just giving a very thin brush up now, but I'm going to cover it completely. Now why I'm doing it on the back side, because the front side is plain, which I like keeping it as it is. So I just thought I'll start working from the back side, and if you see that I'm not covering it up completely, just a rough patch work, so that if like when I use my napkins, the colors are really visible. Well, my napkins are visibly looks good. And with the same brush, I'm just giving the cover up on the sides. This is just to make sure that it looks like a one piece of art. I don't just want to do the centerpiece and leave the remaining areas. So a quick brush up here. This is really interesting. I'm super excited. I'm so sorry for my coughing. I have a bit of cold, not the cold, just the cough part, and I know this is really irritating. I'm more irritated than anyone else right now. Okay, so I'm done with my white acrylic paint work. I'll just clean my brusher. Now as you can see that I have kept 2 jars today. Why I have kept 2 jars is because like whenever you use any mediums on your brush, when you clean it, it tends to change the color of water, and then you don't have the very clean water. So I just thought in one jar I can clean the brush really well. Sorry, I'm really sorry for this. And on the second jar, I'll just clean it again so that all the excessive paint comes out. Okay, now it's time to use my heat gun. I'm using my heat gun just because I just want to make sure that it dries out well before we move on to the next step. So yeah, that's inner side. Now these are really thin, and these are of dirt cheap prices, but I love it. I really love it. Okay, now this has dried out well. Now let me decide that how and where I'm going to use my napkins, because before starting my decoupage work, I just want to make sure I've planned out everything. So what I'm going to do is immediately I'm going to have my scissor, and very quickly I'll trim off everything. Okay, I think this is good. Let me have one more owl from this set. So this is going to be so versatile and so colorful that I'm using the ethnic borders, and then I'm using this peppy owl, and I'm planning to club all of these. Now whatever is going to be the leftover from these napkins, I'm not going to save them for sure. Okay, this is here. Do I need something from this? Yes, I can. Let me do one thing. Let me remove all the plies so that later on I don't have to take out the plies of each single pieces. Okay, so let me trim off this one. Okay, I'll just keep on putting up these on my papers. Yeah. Now so this napkin has some really cute love sentiment. I'll have these also.
À deux doigts de nos lèvres, de doigts si fins que j'ai presque pu le goûter, le bonheur à sculpter de son ciseau d'orfèvre, des souvenirs impossibles à effacer. Le bonheur est passé à deux doigts de nos lèvres, de doigts si fins que j'ai presque pu le goûter, le bonheur à sculpter de son ciseau d'orfèvre, des souvenirs impossibles à effacer.
Okay, so what I have decided is that I'll start sticking, because arranging this is becoming a lot more confusing for me. So because I'm like, I can add this one also, that one also, so that's the reason I'm just thinking that I will be using my decoupage glue, and part by part I will start sticking it. So I have to be really quick here, because like I said, I just want to fill up the spaces as much as I can. Now just imagine, like I said, that this napkin is really thin, so having so much of work on this is actually going to add so much of strength to my piece of art. And just imagine how colorful this will look at the end, and I really hope that it turns out good by the end of this video. Okay, a little careful, because you need to make sure that you stick everything really well.
À deux doigts de nos lèvres, de doigts si fins que j'ai presque pu le goûter, le bonheur à sculpter de son ciseau d'orfèvre, des souvenirs impossibles à effacer. Le bonheur est passé à deux doigts de nos lèvres, de doigts si fins que j'ai presque pu le goûter, le bonheur à sculpter de son ciseau d'orfèvre, des souvenirs impossibles à effacer. Que j'ai presque pu le goûter. à deux doigts de nos lèvres, deux doigts si fins que j'ai presque pu le goûter, le bonheur à sculpter de son ciseau d'orfèvre, des souvenirs impossibles à effacer. Le bonheur est passé à deux doigts de nos lèvres, deux doigts si fins que j'ai presque pu le goûter, le bonheur à sculpter de son ciseau d'orfèvre, des souvenirs impossibles à effacer. Que j'ai presque pu le goûter. Que j'ai presque pu le goûter. Que j'ai presque pu le goûter.
Okay, so I'm done with my sticking work. Yes, I'm still left with so many pieces of my decoupage napkin. Now what I'm going to do is, on the sides I can see some of the extra papers. I'll just trim it off very quickly. A little careful, because you don't want to trim down your paper and not to have any holes. Okay, so here I'm done with this. Now I'm going to let this dry completely and then we'll move on to the next step. So while this one is drying, I am thinking of doing the second piece also. Now this is the one on which I have just done the white acrylic color, and I just thought that in this one I started with the random sticking. Now on this one, let me see if I can do some other way of sticking. Like, I'm going to use of course my napkin only, but I just want to make sure that I have two different kind of pieces. Now for this, let me first remove the plies of my napkin, and I'm doing this just because I need to make sure that when I am done with my sticking, like removing of napkins, then I can immediately start sticking it. So let me remove the plies. Removing the ply is really important, because then only your project sticks well. So yeah, just make sure you do it well. Like, some of the napkins have just one ply and few have two plies, and just be careful about it. So I think most of my napkins plies are removed. It's just one or two are left where I don't have the napkin plies not removed. Okay, so here I am done, and let's start sticking. Now for this one, what I want to do is, I want to start sticking from the center. So just an imaginary block I have made with my DIY decoupage glue. So this is the decoupage glue which I had made of my own. Video is already there on my channel, you can check that. And now I'll start sticking my napkin. Now in this one, even if it gets some wrinkles, I'm absolutely fine with that, because I know that it is on a base of a paper, so that might work. So I'm not at all worried about my wrinkles here at all.
À deux doigts de nos lèvres, deux doigts si fins que j'ai presque pu le goûter, le bonheur à sculpter de son ciseau d'orfèvre, des souvenirs impossibles à effacer. Le bonheur est passé à deux doigts de nos lèvres, deux doigts si fins que j'ai presque pu le goûter, le
Okay, so both my packets have dried out completely. They are looking absolutely gorgeous. Like I can just use them as it is. Now here I just thought if I'm making 2 packets, then why not do some experiment with this. So I have decided that in one I'm going to do some texture work, and on the other one I'm just going to keep it a little simple. Now this one has already too much of napkins and the varieties in it, so I am just thinking that why not to play with my textures on this one, and on this one I'll do some stamping work and random work. Now before I use my texture work on this, I just want to make sure that I seal my decoupage napkin well. So here I'm using my coat of varnish, and yes, this is just to make sure that every napkin pieces have been sealed up really well, and if I use any other mediums later on, it does not get ruined off, it does not absorb any of those colors at all. Okay, so my both the bags are ready to have some really different textures and colors and work on it. Now on this one I have not done anything, it's just the acrylic paint, my decoupage napkins with the Mod Podge, that's it. In this one I have done the acrylic paint, my decoupage napkin sticking work, and a layer of varnish just to make sure that it does not absorb any of the colors in the texture. Now here I am going to use this stencil, this is a script stencil, and I just felt that the size is quite good enough for me to use. Now here what I have is my modeling paste, and I am going to use this one. So I'll just keep this aside. I'll start with my texture work first. Now this has an opening, so I just want to make sure that I don't do it on this area, and I want to give it a coverage as much as I can. So like I said that this napkin is really big, so it is going to be much more easier for me, and with the stencils, like they are see-through, like not completely but partially, so it becomes really easy to work. Now it's not that you have to do the texture work completely, of course, because we have used our beautiful napkin pieces, so I'm just trying to cover up as much as I can on the remaining areas. Okay, I really hope that this turns out good, so that when I have to give this to someone, I can give this with a big smile. Okay, so here I think I'm good with my texture paste on this one. Now I'm going to let this dry, and till then we'll work on this one. Okay, so I have thought of doing stamping and some of the coloring work on this. Now this is my permanent ink pad. Let me keep this aside. This is my permanent ink pad, and this is one of the very beautiful Indian custom design, and I'm going to do this stamping randomly. Like I said, I don't want to focus too much on stamping here. I'll just fill up the empty spaces and make sure that it's not too much on my page, and just covering it up with my stamping. Now I'm using permanent ink so that just in case if I change my mind of doing some other artwork or some other use some other medium on it, then I can do it freely. Yeah, so I think I am done. Yeah, it's almost done. Okay, now this looks really good, and I'm thinking of adding some stamping on this page also. So now I'll keep this one aside, and I'll start with my stamping just here and there. Not too much of stamping, because this one already has nice beautiful texture on it. So I'm just trying to do the stamping on the areas where I have clubbed my napkin or where I see too much of empty spaces, which is hardly there, but yeah. Okay, so now I think this is really good to go to the next step. Now let's start with this one. So I have chosen few of the shades, like this is one of the shimmer paint. My container is almost done. It's just some tinge of color. Let me get my water spray bottle here. Okay, so this is my water bottle spray, and I'm just going to make sure that I spray my water and then I very quickly smudge my colors randomly. So I'm just going to dab my colors here and there, and mostly on the textured areas. Just a bit of dabbing, and I just want to remove all the excessive colors from this. And you can see that how beautiful this blends and how beautiful it's looking, like one piece of art, which is just amazing. Okay, now once I am happy with my one shade, then here I have my sprays, the orange color and the yellow color. So I'm going to do some sprays here and there randomly, just to add some more touch of colors to it. And you can see that how beautiful this looks already. And a tinge of spray here and there, and this looks beautiful. This looks absolutely amazing. Now let me just clean up my table, because the base with which I'm working on is a paper and my table is whole wet. Okay, so I just thought, why not to play around more with colors on this one also. Yes, I have not done any varnish on this. Now this is drying out. I'll just keep it this side and I'll start working on these. So I just thought of using a more of brown, green, blue, like purple and yellow on this one. So let's see how my paper takes it. Let me first spray my water first, otherwise all the colors are going to be so harsh on my napkin, which I definitely don't want. So right now I'm spraying the plain water on my complete base. Okay, now very quickly I'll be just playing around with the colors, and you can see the difference. Now here you can see all my napkin so clearly, but here you can't see my napkin colors naturally. That is only because here I had used my varnish. That makes a hell lot of difference, guys. You can see the difference here. Like whole of my napkin is absorbing the color, and it's just adding so much of color of its own. Okay. I don't know why, but my pumps are not working nicely, so I might have to use it with the standing position of my bottle. Okay, now wherever I feel that I am having too much of dark spaces, I'll use the lighter shade, yellowish and orangish. Okay, now I will have to use my heat gun to dry this up completely. But like I said, if I'm using my spray and I'm working on a paper base, I need to clean up my table very quickly. Sorry. I need to clean up my table very quickly so that I can use my heat gun and start drying this. Now whenever you're using a heat gun on the very thin surface like a paper or something, then make sure you keep your hands and quickly dry it up. I can keep both my papers aside and start my drying process, and then we'll move on to our next step. Now I just thought, why not to break the monotony of the colors in this. I just felt that it is too much of color on this one. So here what I have is a stencil. In this jar I had my DIY texture paste, which has dried out a bit, but don't worry, if I just add some water to it and blend it well, then it is be as good as my new texture paste. Just be a little patient. Like if you have your DIY texture paste, you can definitely use it. Keep it in an airtight container. Even if it dries out a little, don't worry at all. Just add some water and mix it well. Let me add some more water here. Now this video on my DIY texture paste is already there on my channel. Do check that, and that is something which I'm really proud of. I'm really proud of myself that I did that video, because it is such a savior for a beginner and for the people those who cannot buy the new supplies. And even if you can, it's always good to try all these things, because what happens is that unless until we make it, unless until we try something new, we are not at all aware that how things work. And once you make your texture paste and all, then you will know that what are the components it's there and what are the going to be the characteristics of all these supplies. Now I am quite happy with this. I'm just thinking of adding some shades to it. Maybe I can have this nice green color. Oops, no, this is not working out. Let me clean up this palette. Okay, maybe I should add some acrylic yellow color. Just a tinge of color. You can always mix up these colors and create your own colorful texture pastes, but you need to make sure that you mix it really well. Okay, now this looks good to me. I just need to mix it a little more. Okay, now on the areas wherever I feel that my colors have toned down too much, I'll use this texture paste, and trust me, this looks beautiful. This looks amazing. It is giving a complete new look to my paper. Wow, this looks really good. Let me add some more here. Okay, now this is done. This is looking absolutely stunning. Now again, I need to use my heat gun to dry this up. Okay guys, so here I'm done with my video and I'm super happy with the outcome. These are looking amazing. I'm sure if I'll gift it to someone, they are definitely going to like it. One thing, again, I would like to share the difference in these two. In both of these, I have used my acrylic paint on the base, then I've used the Decoupage glue, then I've used my Decoupage napkins, then I have used my texture paste, I have used my stamp, I have used my permanent ink pad for the stamping, and the only difference these two has, and some shimmer sprays and paints. And in this one, the only difference that I have used my varnish before using any mediums on my decoupage napkin. Now what happens when you don't use the varnish. Now here you can see this very clearly, like my napkins have absorbed all the colors, so the actual color of the napkin just goes away. And if you see here, like the napkin color can be seen as it is, like whereas in this one I had used my purple shimmer paint, then I have used some sprays, but this one has all the natural color of the napkin, and this has just absorbed all the other colors because there was no varnish used in this one. So in this one, yeah, not this one, this one. So in this one I've used varnish and my napkin looks as it is. So I really hope that you all enjoyed this tutorial. Of course, I'm listing down all the supplies down in the description box. If you have any queries, do let me know in the comment section below. I'll be more than happy to help you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.